Welcome Protege. From the first tutorial you should have a good understanding of the environment. We showed you how to organize your file structure in the data panel, the different workspaces, how to export step files, how to change the dimensions and the views. In this tutorial we're going to show you how to create your first sketch. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull up our website, and we want to go to Process, Learn, Computer Aided Design. And I want to show you the design flow. The first step of the design flow is to sketch your design on paper. And this is where you can do a rough sketch and start putting down dimensions so you can get an idea of how big you want it to be. We're going to skip that step for now. But the next step in the process is you want to draw the 2D sketch. Then after you draw your 2D sketch, you want to perform some 3D operation that could be, say, extrude or loft. Then once you're done creating your part, you can start creating your assembly. Sometimes you don't necessarily need an assembly if you're just designing one part, and then you can go ahead and manufacture that part, and we'll be 3D printing ours. But for this tutorial we're going to stick with drawing the 2D sketches. So I'll pull up Fusion 360. Like I mentioned, the first thing you want to do is to start a sketch, because you can't extrude or revolve something that's not there. So we have to create a sketch. You can either click on one of these three buttons or hit the drop down menu, create sketch here, click on line, or any of these to start a sketch. I usually just like to hit this symbol. Next it'll show you the three origin planes. So you have the right plane, the front plane, and the top plane. And these are all referenced to this cube in the top right. And you want to try to visualize your part in your head so you can get the views right for it. And for this sketch, I'm just going to do it on the top plane. So once you click on the plane, it will bring you to an orthogonal view. And now you can start creating your sketch. And our units are in inches. So now we can start creating a sketch. I'm just going to do a 2-point rectangle. So you click one point, drag, and then click again to end the 2-point rectangle. And then you can hit the escape key so you don't draw anymore. And notice that the lines are blue. This means that the rectangle is not defined. So how do we define the rectangle? Well, we have to do what's called dimensioning. And to do that, click on the sketch drop down menu, and you can either go to sketch dimension here, or you can hit the D key on your keyboard for a shortcut. And now we can start dimensioning our rectangle. And here you can choose any dimension and just hit enter. So I'm going to make a 3x2 rectangle. But our sketch is still not defined because we can still move it and all of the lines are blue. And it's not defined because it's still floating, and we have to reference it to the origin somehow. One way to reference it by the origin is so you click on the origin point and then click on the side. And a quick way to put it in the middle is you just click on this dimension and say divide by 2. Or you can just use the default right away, but usually you want it in the center so you can have nice symmetry. So I want this one to be in the middle, so I'm going to click on this dimension and divide by 2. So now our sketch is fully defined. If we click on it, we can't drag it. And we know that it's defined because the lines turn to black. Once we're done defining our sketch, then we can either stop sketch here, or at the bottom right there's a stop sketch button here. And then we want to perform our 3D operation. So under create, usually would do an extrude. Now we need a profile, which is what we just drew. So click on your profile, it'll turn blue, and you can either drag this arrow here, or you can just specify the dimension right here. So you can do a positive dimension or negative. And this is going to be a new body, and just hit OK. So I'm going to delete this here. And I forgot to mention that this is the history bar where Fusion 360 keeps track of all the operations. To edit a sketch, you just right click on it and go to Edit Sketch. I'm going to delete this rectangle and show you all the other shapes you can draw. So we did a 2-point rectangle first. You can also do a center point rectangle. So then right away this rectangle is already centered at the origin. So then all we have to do is dimension just the two sides. And that sketch is fully defined. You also have circle, so you can do center point, a 2-point, 3-point. I usually do center or 2-point. With center rectangle, you just click once and drag to your diameter of the circle, and then you only have to dimension one thing, and it's already fully defined. Here you specify your diameter. So I'm going to delete this circle, show you the next one. Let's go to polygon. You can specify the edge number. So you can do a hexagon, a pentagon, a heptagon, an octagon, a nanogon, a decagon. So let's stick with a hexagon. You would use this if you wanted to do, say, a hex standoff. And then you would just specify each side. Let's see, what else do we have? We have an ellipse. So you click one point, click the second point, and you can create an ellipse. You can also create slots. You have center to center. Click once, click again, and then you drag, and you can specify the dimensions of your slot. I'm going to draw a center point rectangle to show you some of the other features, so we can draw off of this. Like, for example, we can use the 3-point arc. So you want to specify 3 points, 1, 2, and 3. You can also do a conic curve. Again, you specify 3 points, and here you can drag however you want it. You can drop some points on your sketch, and for these you would use to, say, create holes, define planes or axes. And then one more thing I want to show you for sketch is you can also do text. Notice how your cursor has an A next to it now, so just specify the position where you want to place your text, and it pulls up this text box. And here we can specify the text, change the height, can be bold, italic, or underlined, and then you can change the font and you can flip it if you want. I think you have a pretty good idea of how to create a sketch and use the different shapes that are available. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe below or leave a question or comment.